The House will come to order. Messages from the Senate.
Message from the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I hereby announce the passage by the Senate of the following Senate file herewith transmitted. Senate file number 3306. The message is signed Cal R. Ludeman, Secretary of the Senate.
First reading of Senate files.
First reading of Senate file number 3306, an act relating to campaign finance. O'Driscoll moved that Senate file number 3306 and House File number 3837, now on the General Register, be referred to the Chief Clerk for comparison.
Hearing no objection, so ordered. Calendar for the day. The first bill on the calendar for the day is House File 2391. The Clerk will report the bill.
House File number 2391, number 1 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to financial institutions, the first engrossment.
Recognize the member from Douglas, Representative Franson, to introduce your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the body. So House File 2391 is a health savings account garnishment protections bill. The Minnesota state exemptions protect certain property of individuals from creditors. These exemptions apply when a creditor is collecting from a debtor outside of bankruptcy, such as garnishment or levy, and are applicable to a debtor's property inside a bankruptcy. The Minnesota state exemptions presently protect, for example, a debtor's homestead up to a certain amount, their clothing, household goods, and furnishings, among other specific things. There is not anything in these exemptions that protect healthcare savings accounts, which is why we are here today. Healthcare savings accounts are accounts that go along with some other people's health insurance. In order to open a health savings account, one must have a health insurance policy that is a high deductible plan as defined by the IRS. The IRS limits annual contributions to healthcare savings accounts. With the advent of changes in healthcare policy over the past decade, these plans have become increasingly common. Presently, Minnesota state exemptions do not protect the health savings accounts from creditors or bankruptcy trustees. This bill helps protect healthcare savings accounts from creditors and bankruptcy trustees up to $25,000. People's health care should be protected, and healthcare providers should be able to receive the money that the law has already set aside to compensate them for their services. People will not be able to shield substantial amounts of money from creditors and healthcare savings accounts because of the annual limits set by the IRS and the $25,000 limit in this bill. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I will stand for questions.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 2391.
Third reading. Discussion on final passage of House File 2391. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. The clerk will close the roll. There being 123 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 1415. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 1415, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to commerce, the third engrossment.
Recognize the member from Scott, Representative Albright, to introduce your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, House File 1415 is a daily fantasy sports bill. The purpose of this bill, bringing it forward, is to provide consumer protections and a framework for which we can make sure that bad actors don't involve themselves in the ongoing activities of our citizens. A little background, fantasy sports is legal and popular in Minnesota. Over 1 million of our constituents play it already. Whether it be daily, weekly, or season-long, this is not a bet, and it cannot be a bet in law. It involves research, an extensive amount of attention and skill, as many of us in the room probably are already aware. This does set up a regulatory framework that allows good actors to operate fantasy games within the state and stops bad actors, again, from hurting our constituents. Happy to stand for questions. Thank you.
There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Hanson moves to amend House File number 1415, the third engrossment as follows, and the amendment is coded A5.
Recognize the member from Dakota, Representative Hanson, to introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. The A5 amendment deals with kind of a new topic here on the floor of the Minnesota House. It relates to loot boxes. And I'm not sure if there are that many members who have heard of or understand the issue relating to the potential for gaming in loot boxes. Those of you, I would ask you maybe to talk to your children or your grandchildren about video games and loot boxes as we begin this conversation. Representative Albright and I talked this morning. It is not my intent to move forward with this amendment, but I want this to be the beginning of a conversation that hopefully we can look at in Minnesota and be part of a discussion or conversation that is occurring around this country. The video gaming industry is larger than the movie industry in our country. It is a huge industry. And the potential there for gaming, for the chance, the option to win, and the spending of money in that winning, I think it's something that the Minnesota House and Senate and our state government needs to discuss. There is a bill that I introduced, House File 4460, has bipartisan support. Some of you have signed on that in the last 24 hours. I look forward to continuing the conversation. I believe Representative Zerwas is also interested in this, and I look forward to having that conversation.
The member from Sherburne, Representative Zerwas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Thank you, Representative Hanson, for bringing forward this amendment. I think the idea of loot boxes in video games aimed and geared towards children is a very important topic to discuss. And for members' information, what we're discussing are games of chance embedded in other video games readily available on individuals' cell phone games or Xbox or PlayStation games that are connected to the internet, where the player, through paying an extra monetary fee, can download an extra game that's a game of chance. And so you might end up paying money for something to your child. If you're lucky enough to have your credit card attached to your Apple account, your child may end up downloading an extra chance to, in a sense, gamble and play a game of chance embedded within this video game. This is a topic that's being discussed in multiple states around the country. I agree with Representative Hanson that this isn't the appropriate bill to have that discussion, but I look forward to advancing those bills through the committee process next session. And I thank Representative Hanson for offering this amendment to bring the discussion to the members' attention.
The member from Dakota, Representative Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I just sent you a New York Times story that was published today that gives some background and things that are happening in other states. We'll try to get you more information on a bipartisan basis so we can look at this in the future. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I withdraw the amendment.
Representative Hanson withdraws the A5 amendment. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 1415.
Third reading. Discussion on final passage of House File 1415. The member from Hennepin, Representative Hornstein.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members, and I appreciate the effort in this bill to put some guardrails around a potentially new form of placing bets, and one can certainly debate whether it's gambling or not. I come down on the side that this is a form of gambling. And I have distributed a letter from the Joint Religious Legislative Coalition to the body. That includes the Council of Churches, the Catholic Conference, the Jewish Community Relations Council, and the Islamic Center of Minnesota. And my concern with this is that we have many of our constituents that have issues with compulsive gambling. And we need more resources in the state to address this. While we don't have data specifically from Minnesota, we do know that in other states, upwards of 1 or 2% of the population suffers from this illness. And we also know that up to half of the people that engage in gaming and gambling have this condition of compulsive gambling. And of course, it causes so many different issues and concerns. And so a bill like this needs to have, I think, additional resources attached to it. We need to be treating this illness. And without that, I think that we do run the risk of increasing the significant social costs that are attributed to expansion of gambling, which are outlined in this letter. And so for those reasons, while I do believe it's helpful, Representative Albright, that you've put some guardrails on this, I don't think it's enough, and I think without putting some additional resources into addressing the social costs of gambling, this falls short, and I'll be voting no.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Davney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. Representative Hornstein, thank you for your wise counsel. There's a number of concerns related with this bill and with this industry. Representative Hornstein spoke articulately on the impact of this expansion of gambling on too many vulnerable constituents across our state. And that's a real area of concern. We know the destruction that any form of addiction can present to a family, and addiction to daily sports gambling is as much of an addiction as alcohol or drugs or the opioid epidemic. It has much the same elements to it and much the same negative impact. My concern and my hesitation is the insufficient regulatory structure in the bill. This is an industry that has accusations that it is rife with fraud and corruption. In issues of insider trading, where an employee of one of the major daily sports gambling entities that has lobbied in favor of this bill was betting on the site of another of the major daily sports gambling entities that lobbied in favor of this bill and won $350,000 doing that, allegedly because he had insider information that was not available to the public. So I go forward to place my bet for the day, and the guy taking the bet online, in essence, has information about how I'm going to lose and he's going to win. The regulation provided in this bill doesn't deal sufficiently with that. Wire fraud, another one of the entities that's been in this field but has gone bankrupt, accusations that they were involved in federal wire fraud. Insufficient regulation to deal with that. Accusations of player collusion to get around some of the regulations and win huge pots of money, but in a fraudulent sort of fashion. The corruption and fraud accusations for this industry are everywhere, and we are not sufficiently providing protection to Minnesotans who choose to bet on daily sports gambling entities, and for that reason I will be a no. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the bill? The member from Wabasha, Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I kind of wonder where this bill came from, but I've been around here long enough to know we don't hear any groundswell of interest in Minnesotans to bring this bill forward. This is brought forward by moneyed interests that want to fence around their operations, utilizing government in the structures outlined in this bill in order to do it. So the idea is, if you want to be in control of an industry, and the only legal way in law to do it is you build up rules around it, including a $1,500 fee in order for your company to operate. So if you're a little ma and pa business somewhere wanting to do this, guess what? $1,500. You have to pay it every year. I'm not hearing support for this bill anywhere from any of my constituents, not one. And the silence is deafening. And the reality is, this is full of swamp water. We have moneyed interests bringing this forward to support their future, and they're going to fence out everybody else. That's what this bill does. This is bad for Minnesota, bad for our constituents, and it deserves to be defeated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Wright, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just to touch base or to build upon the comments of Representative Drazkowski, when it comes to online activities, we in the cybersecurity industry are often faced with the reality that much cyber crime occurs outside of the jurisdictions that we're currently operating in. It could be outside of the state, or it could be outside of the country. And so one of the concerns that I have with this bill is that it creates a potential false sense of security. Because if the supposition is that those who want to engage, operators who want to engage in this activity, daily fantasy sports, are going to license themselves with the authorities in the state of Minnesota, if you're outside the jurisdiction of the country and you stand up websites that are hosted in jurisdictions that are outside the boundaries of the state of Minnesota, what is the recourse? And so it creates the potential that those in the state of Minnesota who want to engage in this activity, they might have the false sense of security that the website that they're using is regulated and is on the up and up. But that isn't necessarily the case. So I just want members to take that into consideration on this bill. Thank you.
Further discussion? And Representative Albright will give you the final word.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members. One of the comments that was made in the protections, I think, is well heard. But Representative Dabney, if you take a look at the provisions in the bill, the insider trading is prohibited. So I just want to assure you that that issue that you raised has been addressed in this bill. Members, this is a piece of legislation that provides guidelines, nothing more. It's not an expansion. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. Clerk will close the roll. There being 48 ayes and 74 nays, the bill does not pass. The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 3548. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 3548, number 3 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to transportation.
Recognize the member from Candy Ojai, Representative Miller, to introduce your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is a very good bill for farmers. Currently, Minnesota statute allows for them and all agricultural carriers to transport their products exempt from the standard DOT hours of service law as long as it's within 150 miles radius from their farm or distribution point. That's basically bins, barns, and co-ops. This includes commodities such as corn, wheat, cattle, turkeys, farm supplies such as fertilizer or seed. They can currently do this 9 months out of the year. This bill recognizes that today's farm economy requires our farmers and our ag groups to be able to get their products on time. And so what this bill does is extends it from 9 months out to full year 12 months. The State Patrol and MnDOT support this, and I ask for your support as well.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 3548.
Third reading. Discussion on House File 3548, final passage. The member from Anoka, Representative Bernardi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of this bill as well, and I encourage our members to support our farmers around the state. Thank you.
The member from Olmsted, Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the author yield for question?
He will yield. Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Miller, I haven't heard anything about the opinion of the counties in this. And this isn't an issue I follow closely, but I do know that often counties are concerned about roads and truck weights and things like that. Does this have any impact on the condition of our roads? And have you heard from the counties?
Representative Miller.
Mr. Speaker and Representative Liebling, through the course of committee time on this bill and discussions with other people, the counties remain silent on this. They're neither for or against this.
Representative Olmsted, or excuse me, Representative Liebling. I'm reading.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am the county now.
You probably are. Representative Liebling.
So if he would yield again, Mr. Speaker.
He will yield. Representative Liebling.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So Representative Miller, you didn't say anything about the road condition issue, though, and that's where I usually hear from my county. I haven't heard from them, but you know, they may not be tracking this. I don't know for what reason I might not have heard from them, but is this going to impact, you know, down in my corner of the state, we have a tremendous problem with our roads and lots of little bridges that really suffer under the heavier trucks. And is this something that's going to allow heavier trucks to be on the road more? Is that essentially what this is going to do?
Representative Miller.
Mr. Speaker and Representative Liebling, I share your concerns about the road conditions, and that's certainly a discussion that we have to further continue on in this body as agriculture grows and we have more trucks on these roads. Those are some of the issues that we're facing. However, all this bill does is this extends the normal courtesy, if you will, from the 9 months out of the year to 12 months on truck usage outside the rules of the DOT on the number of truck driving hours. This is not going to increase the number of trucks on the road. This is just going to allow them to do it when they need to do it. So to your question directly, does this increase more damage to the roads? This specific bill will not do that.
Any further discussion on House File 3548, final passage? The member from Pope, Representative Anderson P.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. This is a good bill. Representative Miller, I do have one question, if he would yield for a question.
He will yield. Representative Anderson.
Representative Miller, this is a good bill, but occasionally in the fall, the governor has to declare an emergency if there's a shortage of propane or anhydrous ammonia. Does this bill address that? We wouldn't have to do that with the governor in the fall anymore if there would be a shortage?
Representative Miller.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, Representative Anderson, this bill does not address that issue.
Any further discussion? The member from Dakota, Representative Garofalo.
Would the author of the bill yield for a question?
He will yield. Representative Garofalo.
Representative Miller, does the Republican Farmer Labor Subcaucus have a position on this issue?
The member from Candy, Ojai, Representative Miller.
Mr. Speaker and Representative Garofalo, in fact, they do. They're very supportive of this bill, and I thank you for asking that. I do believe they're going to be scoring this vote. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. The clerk will close the roll. There being 121 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to. The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 3552. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 3552, number 4 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to real property, the first engrossment.
I call upon the author of the bill from Hennepin, Representative Smith, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. This bill deals with the Common Interest Ownership Act, modification of the great bill that this body passed last legislative session. It's very narrow in its scope and deals for how older, in this case, a historical building is a good example. The Minnesota Museum of Art can have condominium use as well as the commercial use and or a museum in the first floor of the building. This bill is bipartisan. This bill has no opposition. This bill passed unanimously in committee, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
There are no amendments to the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 3552.
Third reading. Discussion to the bill. Seeing none, the clerk will take the roll. Members, please vote. The clerk will close the roll. There being 124 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed. Reports from the Committee on Legislative Rules and Administration.
Pepin from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bills to be placed on the calendar for the day for Thursday, April 26, 2018, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bills. House File numbers 4328 and 2908, and Senate File number 2484.
Motions and resolutions. There's a copy of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there's no objection, we'll take action on these motions first. Hearing no objections, the motions prevail. Announcements. Member from Dakota, Representative McQuaid.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege. Members, one of the greatest honors of my life is to represent the community that raised me. And as I talk to students in my district, one of the best things about it is that they have the common experiences that I had when I was in school. Mr. Dama conducting our choir, Mr. Sexton doing the funny displacement science experiment that he does in his class. These are all things that we share. One experience that we don't share is lockdown drills. I never did a lockdown drill in school. And the students in my district, the students in your district, do lockdown drills every year. It is unacceptable that a policy that 90% of Minnesotans support cannot get a vote on this floor. We have the power and privilege of our election certificates, and I know that if I was a mom sitting out in the state, a dad sitting out in the state, a student sitting out in the state, the ones that have marched from their schools to the steps of this Capitol, that have rallied, that have given up their Sundays, they would do everything they could to pass this policy, and we have done nothing. And so I don't know what else to do except sit here on this floor and tell the stories of the victims and survivors of gun violence who deserve to have their stories told in this chamber, in their house. So starting right now, I will be on this floor for the next 24 hours telling the stories that deserve to be told in this chamber. We should pass this policy. 90% of Minnesotans support it. If we cannot pass a policy that 90% of Minnesotans support, I'm very concerned. Please join me if you support this. You don't have to stay the whole time. I will be here. I would love to have you here, and I'd love to have other people here to listen to the stories. Thank you.
Member from Fillmore, Representative Davids.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, the Tax Committee will reconvene at 12:15 p.m. in room 200. Thank you.
Announcements. Member from Sherburne, Representative Knobloch.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, the House GOP Ways and Means Committee members will huddle immediately after session in room 454. At 1 o'clock, the House Ways and Means Committee will meet in room 5. That's room 5 to take up the legacy bill and the public safety bill.
Announcements. Representative Pepin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 25th, 2018.
Representative Pepin moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion prevails. Representative Pepin.
I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Pepin moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The motion prevails. The House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 25th, 2018.